Hello, everybody. I'm Paul Ryden. What has the greatest impact on a child? Now, you may think back on your own life and say it was the influence of family or church or a teacher or a coach. And often those influences aren't recognized till you're older and can look back to see how profound they were and what a difference they made in your life. Our guest today is Prabhakara Narasandra, who has written a book called Internal Migration and Socio-Economic Development, and it examines the internal migration of children in India from rural areas to cities and how their livelihoods are affected. Prabhakara,
Yes,
nice to
sir.
see you today.
Yeah.
Good to have you. Now, you've written 10 books and numerous
Yes, sir.
papers on
Yeah.
population growth, so this is obviously a subject that is near and dear to your heart. What from your own experience prompted you to study this?
Basically, I have a master's in statistics, and then I started working in Population Research Center in Bangalore, and I started collecting using census data and primary data and all other government sources.
Mhm.
I was I was really interested in using the secondary data and analyzing them and making the uh, reports. So while doing this, my attention caught for the child labor because in India, you see the migration is both parallel and perpendicular. People from rural area, they go to urban area looking for the better life and better opportunity and better employment. And when they move, sometimes they leave the kids behind and sometimes they take with them and some in greater cities like Bombay and Calcutta, you can see child, children are moved without their parents also. They are working in small hotel industry, and in Andhra Pradesh, most of them they work in coal industry, and in some Gujarat and other areas, you can see them working in the jewelry industry also, and most of them, they get underpaid and they spend their under, especially in plantations. You see, in a state of Karnataka, we have a plantation, coffee and tea plantation, and you can see a lot of kids going there and working there. This caught my attention, and I start working on that and collecting data. It's very hard to collect data on child labor because you don't get sufficient data and accurate data. Most of the data I got from census and some voluntary organization like um, there is one organization in New Delhi. It is called Child and their welfare. They collect information on child labor, but most of them they don't let you collect the correct information because when you go to the field, they try to hide that they know because of the there is a law that no one can work until they are 16 or 17.
Mhm.
Yeah. So they are trying to eradicate this child labor. These are the things which made me interested in starting working on this one.
We don't hear a lot about child migration in the US. It's a cultural difference, I suppose. What is it like in India? Do parents send their children off from the rural areas to the cities and vice versa? Do they go by themselves? And how does that work?
It happens like sometimes they move with their parents, and
Uh,
sometimes parents leave the kids behind and they go to the city area or plantation work, and this way the kids they have to support themselves and they have to work in small scale industry. Especially in the state of Kerala, you can find lot of kids working in hotel industries.
hmm.
That is the major source of employment for them because they clean, they do all other stuff, and they get underpaid.
Well, what prompts parents to send their kids off by themselves?
Economy,
Uh,
economy to support the family, and is very substantial to support the family. The per capita income in rural area is very less,
mhm.
so it supports the family economically. Even in US, there is a child labor, but it's not to the extent of what we see in other countries like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and other underdeveloped or developing countries. I don't want to say underdeveloped, but developing countries.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I know child labor and literacy rates seem to go hand in hand. What's the key to breaking that cycle?
because when the parents are educated, as the education increases in the family, child labor decreases. This is the hypothesis I started. It's a there is a direct correlation between the education and the economy. If the family parents are well educated and if they have a substantial good job, they want to send their children to this school, and education has very important role in decreasing the child labor.
Mhm. And what policy solutions would address the biggest issues that cause the problem?
Because in most of the countries you can see until at least 14 years all kids they have a right to go to this school, but in some of the developing countries you don't see that they don't go to the school. Well, there is a free education in many countries until they finish their at least before high school, up to that point the education is free in most of the countries. After that is not free, but until then they can send them their kids to the school. So this way the literacy rate goes higher, and as the literacy rate goes higher, the child labor decreases. And there are so many laws also to prevent child labor, but sometimes it doesn't work, and they are exposed. A lot of kids they are exposed to dangerous circumstances. Some of them they are working in, especially in Tamil Nadu, Shivakashi. There is a cracker, pataki. We say pataki. The explosives we use in. You see all these fireworks
Mhm.
here.
Yeah.
They manufacture those items. That is very dangerous for their health, and you can see a lot of kids working in
Oh,
those
yeah.
industries.
Hmm. Well, now, what was your experience like as a child? I assume you grew up in India. What was your
Uh,
experience?
I had up and down, the up and down, but basically I had a good education background. But while going to the school, I had to work
Mhm.
for some money. Even in when I was in high school, I was working. Then I go to college, I was working too. I was teaching some kids for lower standard and getting money and other things.
Well,
But overall, I didn't had any problem like that. I had a good background of education.
and you've
I
been
finished my
very,
master's in India.
man, you've been very successful as well. Who is this book written for? Who do you want to read this book, and what do you want them to take from it?
Uh, I didn't had any intention while I started working on this, but if anyone can adopt this and if they try to improve the condition of child, and if they get them good education, and if they make them go to school at least until they finish their high school, you can see the child labor will decrease.
How do you make that
So
happen?
it can happen socially, and by you can't force any law to control this because there are so many laws to prevent child labor. Some of them is not working basically. There are every government in every country they have this one. Even in India they have a system. They have to go finish until 14 or 16 years. They have to finish the education. Before that, they cannot go to any job or anything like that. Even here, they have that one too. But sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work.
What is the
And
what's the most tragic story you've heard in relation to child migration?
because in some parts of Karnataka, some parts of Kerala in India, there is a plantation. People go to for seasonal work. They migrate from one place to another place. Sometimes they leave behind their kids, and they will be home alone.
Mm.
That is the sad part of this one.
Yeah, and no matter how many laws they pass, they still have to be enforced somehow.
Yes, yes. And economy plays very important role in this one. And education also. Education of the parents and the family background.
How did you manage to, when you migrated out of India? to the United States, I assume, or
Yes.
and what was that process like for you?
When I come here, I was working in India as a researcher. I finished my master's and I started I wanted to do my PhD. Then I came here and it was a little bit delayed, but finally I submitted my thesis and I got my delete in child migration.
Mhm. And what are you doing right now? I mean, you've published this book. What is it you're doing? You're in Columbia, Missouri now at the university doing what?
I'm 73. I'm not doing anything right now. I'm just work, some work, and I read all these books and articles which comes. I am a member of American Population Association and International Population Association. Also, I get their publications and I go through that and see what is the recent development in the area,
Do you feel
and
like what?
I try to do something. I just published one article in the International Journal of Population Development about the population growth and economic development by caste in India. And I have written one book also about that.
Do you feel like the work that the group is doing has been effective?
I
Difference?
am not sure, but I want to see how it works after I finish this interview.
Mhm.
Maybe it will help me.
Well, the book is called Internal Migration and Socio-Economic Development, and it's available on Amazon and
Yeah.
Love Reading UK. And I suppose it's available other places as well.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Well, Mr. Narasandra, thank you for joining us. And thank you, folks, for spending a few minutes with us on the Global Book Network. I'm Paul Ryden. We'll see you next time.